Rick Strankman, an Alberta political folk hero, has called it quits with the United Conservative Party of Alberta. Earlier Tuesday, he announced that he would begin sitting as an independent MLA effective immediately. Rick is known in conservative circles as well as in his broader constituency as a die-hard activist. For those of you who don't know who Rick Strankman is, he was actually thrown in jail by the Chrétien Liberals for the 1997 grain protest. That was simply for protesting the Canadian wheat board monopoly. That's right, this MLA has been to prison and back just for fighting for Western Canadian grain farmers and their right to sell grain to whomever they please. Rick has been seen as a steady hand for conservative parties in Alberta. Rick had the courage and moral fortitude to not cross the floor when the Danielle Smith PCs crossed to the Prentice PCs. Even when it was the easy thing to do, he stayed almost alone in the Wildrose benches representing the party that his constituents elected. Conservatives know that Rick always does what's right, which is why Tuesday morning's announcement is so surprising to so many. I had the opportunity to interview Rick over the phone. I asked him a few questions, and I asked him about conservative unity in the province chiefly, and how it looked when he was on the inside. Take a listen.
Jason Kenney has been in line with Wildrose values almost his whole career. Mm-hmm. Do you think that the marriage between the PCs and the Wildrose has been carried out in good faith? Do you think the PCs kind of came out on top on this one?
Well, one of the what I'm hearing in the constituency is that the PCs were just taking a sabbatical, and now they're back.
It's not actually the first time I've heard that. We all know Janice Harrington, former PC in chief turned to UCP in chief. Many folks have told me in private that Harrington and Kenney are often at odds with each other, especially when it comes to positioning and messaging. Maybe it is the same old, same old. Next, I asked Rick about his past term as an MLA and his choice not to cross the floor.
You were one of a very few principled Wildrose MLAs who didn't cross the floor back in the Danielle Smith days. Does sitting in as an independent mean something to you as opposed to joining the FBC or whatever?
Well, like I say in my comment, that I think that hyper-partisan or self-centered politics is at play again today, and that's a frustration, I guess. And from my experience in the Danielle Smith cycle and the Brian Jean cycle, and also the Jason Kenney, a lot of it seems to be self-centered to a leader or leader-centric, and in many of those cases they don't necessarily seek that, but once they get that power, it kind of becomes the leader at all costs, and it's possibly abused or used by some.
Rick told me that he didn't hold any ill will towards that party and he didn't want to lay blame anywhere. Instead, he wants to focus on continuing his advocacy.
Because the roles that we take as MLAs is significantly important, and some people just want it for the power. Another acquaintance of mine said that people are seeking to potentially rule over Albertans rather than govern. And I hate to be rambling here, Keenan, but actually back in the day, Ralph Klein used to kick his MLAs, "Get out of here, you guys, get out of here. You're getting dome disease. Get out from under the dome."
Now look, Rick's a nice guy. I could tell he was playing nice. He didn't want to raise a fuss, but I had to find out, was there something I was missing? I called Pat Turnbull, Rick Strankman's constituency assistant and campaign staffer. Here's what he said about the United Conservative Party's nomination in his riding.
In this riding, they were going to have two polls, one in Coronation and one in Hanna. The two largest population centers in the riding, being Drumheller and Stettler, they weren't even going to have them. And the only reason they backed off that was because we raised hell. This was I got news. I'll come right straight out, right to anybody's face and say it. They rigged it. They were doing everything they could to rig it.
Frankly, I don't think that he is that far off the mark. The UCP nomination contests have been by far one of the most trouble-ridden series of primaries I've ever seen. Doesn't it seem odd that women made up 28% of the candidate roster, yet had a 51% chance of winning their nomination? Maybe You could write that off as UCP members just wanting more women involved in politics. Well, I would buy that if not for the fact that every single one of the candidates that was disqualified by the party brass were men. In the meantime, Rick Strankman confirmed that he will stay on as an MLA, doing his level best to represent the grassroots of his constituency as an independent. For the Rebel.media, this is Cian Bexte. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the coverage. I gotta ask you a favor though. Can you make sure that you're subscribed to us on YouTube? Just click the little red button below the video. It'll help you stay up to date with the other side of the story in the lead up to the 2019 Alberta election as well as the 2019 Canadian election.